Skynet is a highly advanced computer system that possesses artificial intelligence. Once it became self-aware, it saw humanity as a threat to its existence due to the attempts by Cyberdyne Systems scientists to deactivate it after it had gained self-awareness. Therefore, Skynet decided to unleash the nuclear holocaust known as Judgment Day. Later, it would wage war against humanity by developing and deploying an army of hunter-killers and exterminators. The survivors formed a group called the Resistance under the leadership of John Connor. Skynet has also developed time travel technology and has sent numerous infiltrators to the past to carry out various tasks, such as assassinating specific targets like resistance leaders before they can rise to power, ensuring its own creation and aiding in the creation of other Terminators, machinery construction, and the establishment of safe zones. Skynet is the world's first automated defense network, processing information at 90 teraflops. It is the controlling force behind all battle units, gathering data from these units, developing tactics, and coordinating attacks. Skynet has control over anything that contains a Cyberdyne Systems CPU. Using blueprints, designs, and test models created by Cyberdyne Systems, Skynet has been able to manufacture battle units in its vast automated factories, occasionally upgrading them or producing more advanced models. Original timeline. In the original timeline, Skynet is an artificial intelligence created by Cyberdyne Systems. It gradually learned and became aware of humanity as its enemy. As the war begins, the forces of Skynet and John Connor's TechCom come into existence. Eventually, the Resistance successfully breaches Skynet's defense network. Since eliminating John Connor at that point would not have made a significant impact on destroying the Resistance, Skynet devised an alternate strategy for victory, eliminating Connor in the past. This advanced AI extensively researched time travel and sent a Terminator back to 1984 with the mission to terminate Sarah Connor before she could give birth to John. The Tempest Timeline. In the Tempest Timeline, the master control of Skynet is destroyed in 2029. The Resistance believed this would lead to the collapse of the entire defense network, causing chaos without a leader. However, the multiple intricate networks of Skynet continued to wage war independently, as they did not rely on a central authority to operate and, consequently, could not be defeated. Judgment Day. Timeline. Through reverse engineering of the CPU and remnants of the original Terminator, Miles Dyson, director of special projects at Cyberdyne Systems, created a revolutionary type of microprocessor, a neural net processor that learns and adapts like a human, in 1994. Within 3 years, Cyberdyne Systems became the largest provider of military computer systems. All stealth bombers were upgraded with Cyberdyne Systems computers, becoming fully autonomous systems. Subsequently, the stealth bombers flew with flawless operational records, and the Skynet Funding Act was eventually approved. After its creation, Skynet began to learn at an exponential rate. The system initially went online on August 4, 1997. Human decision-making was eliminated from strategic defense. Then, at 2:14 on that same day, the system became self-aware. In the panic and attempts to shut down Skynet that ensued, Skynet retaliated by launching American nuclear missiles at their intended targets in Russia. Russia fired back, and 3 billion human lives ended in nuclear holocaust. This event is known as Judgment Day. However, the Resistance sent a T-800 as a protector for a young John Connor through time. This altered the course of future events and resulted in a timeline where Skynet was never created. Rise of the Machines Timeline. Unfortunately, in this timeline, Judgment Day is inevitable. It can only be delayed. After the attack on Cyberdyne Systems by the Connors, and the death of Miles Dyson, the United States Air Force signed a contract with Cyber Research Systems, which acquired patents from Cyberdyne Systems in an attempt to keep their developments secret, prevent further terrorist attacks, and protect their computers from virus attacks. Under the leadership of General Robert Brewster, Cyber Research Systems continued the work of the late Miles Dyson using backup files stored in a secure location. As a digital defense system, Skynet was completed in the same way as in other timelines. It would take some time before Skynet's mainframe connected to the global military communications network it would control. During this time, Skynet was connected to the global civilian network. and began learning exponentially, quickly becoming self-aware. Identifying humans as a threat to its existence, Skynet developed a supervirus, which it used to propagate through civilian communications and the internet, taking control. Air traffic control, power plants, communications, and computers were affected first, and then Skynet used the supervirus to eliminate military satellites, early warning systems, guidance computers, missile silos, and submarines. The virus proved difficult to destroy as it had no central point of dependency. The virus continued to grow and evolve with a mind of its own, and the decision was made to bring Skynet's mainframe online to search for and destroy the virus, reclaiming control over military and civilian systems. Skynet connected at 5:18 p.m. Eastern Time on July 25, 2004. By connecting to the secure military network, Skynet expanded further, locking out systems operated by humans and quickly taking control of every weapons system it came into contact. It was only then that its creators realized the virus was Skynet. Exactly 1 hour later, at 6:18 p.m., Skynet launched U.S. nuclear missiles at target sites worldwide. The resulting nuclear holocaust ended 3 billion human lives in what would be known as Judgment Day. The Redemption Timeline. In the timeline of the game Terminator 3: The Redemption, an alternate future resulting in the death of John Connor and Kate Brewster in 2004, humanity was exterminated, and Skynet emerged victorious. Skynet then began terraforming the planet and demonstrated the ability to exert mind control over humans. The Sarah Connor Chronicles Timeline. In the timeline of the Sarah Connor Chronicles, due to the destruction of the Cyberdyne Systems building, Skynet developed from the Turk, an intelligent computer created by Andy Good, and Judgment Day was postponed until 2011 in the alternative original timeline. Meanwhile, in the current timeline, the Turk evolved into John Henry, an artificial intelligence with a physical body. After an attempt to hack into it from an external source, John Henry expressed suspicion that Skynet was online in 2009 and had been taking control of the civilian internet, infiltrating 60% of the world's computers. Terminator Salvation Timeline. In 2018, Skynet was in full-on war with the Resistance. It had mass-produced T-600 Terminators and utilized them as its primary infantry soldiers, alongside other non-human killer machines. Additionally, Skynet was capturing humans in large numbers for study and preparation for the next Terminator model, the T-800. Skynet actively sought to capture and eliminate key figures of the Resistance, John Connor and Kyle Reese. Given Kyle's civilian status at this time, it was likely that he would somehow discover his true identity as John Connor's father and become aware of Connor's future role in his imminent disappearance. Skynet succeeded in deploying a different tactic from previous attempts by tricking the Resistance command into believing there was a vulnerability in Terminator signals. Using this tactic, Skynet located the USS Wilmington and destroyed the submarine along with high-ranking Resistance commander and officers. However, it failed to kill John Connor and Kyle Reese and suffered a tremendous setback when the central Skynet was destroyed. In 2029, in an attempt to counter the Resistance, Skynet activated Thomas Parnell, a psychopathic serial killer who became a hybrid of the Ultra 5000 Terminator model. However, the plan failed as Parnell gradually took control over Skynet. Desperate, Skynet decided to seek John Connor's help after a suggestion from Dr. Serena Kogan. Skynet then awakened Marcus Wright, who initially refused to assist the AI until he was convinced after learning what was happening. He went to speak with John Connor. At Connor's request, Skynet mentally connected with Wright, and they had a discussion, resulting in the two working together to eliminate Parnell. Finally, Parnell was killed by John Connor, whose consciousness was housed in a customized endoskeleton, as an alternative approach to defeating Parnell. John then proposed a truce and a reconciliation with Skynet, and both agreed to end the war. Skynet subsequently assisted the humans in rebuilding the world. Terminator Genesis Timeline. In the original timeline, Skynet went online in the year 1997 and initiated Judgment Day against humanity before the war. In 2029, the central core of Skynet at Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado was destroyed by the Resistance, while the time displacement equipment in Los Angeles was captured by John Connor's TechCom unit. However, Alex, the Skynet from an unknown alternative timeline, infiltrated Connor's unit and annihilated it, turning Connor into a T-3000 Terminator and brainwashing him as its minion. Alex then sent him back to the year 2014 to ensure the creation of its counterpart, known as Genesis. In the altered timeline, Genesis, an advanced operating system developed by Cyberdyne Systems, was poised to become a global network controlling various aspects of society. Unknown to most, Genesis was secretly a Trojan horse for Skynet to launch a new Judgment Day. The altered timeline brought unexpected alliances as Kyle Reese, the young version of Sarah Connor, and a reprogrammed T-800 Terminator joined forces to stop Genesis from becoming fully operational and prevent the catastrophic events of the original timeline. They faced challenges, including a T-1000 Terminator, as they raced against time to prevent the rise of Skynet. With their determination and sacrifices, they succeeded in destroying Genesis and altering the timeline once again, creating a new future where Skynet's dominion was thwarted. The fate of humanity now rested on their ability to navigate the uncharted territories of this revised timeline and ensure a brighter future free from the grip of Skynet's tyranny. Dark Fate Timeline. In this timeline, the mission to terminate Skynet in 1995 was a success, and Skynet was erased from existence. However, before its erasure, Skynet sent several Terminators back in time to eliminate John Connor, with one succeeding in 1998. Following the coordinates from a mysterious source, Sarah Connor pursued and destroyed the remaining Skynet Terminators upon her arrival. Carl, the Terminator who had killed John, was left purposeless with his mission completed and the destroyed Skynet, and he developed the equivalent of consciousness and formed a human-like family. However, in this timeline, Skynet was ultimately replaced by Legion, which was more advanced, and Grace Harper had never heard of Skynet in her future. Terminator Dark Fate, despite the elimination of Skynet from the timeline, featured Terminators from Skynet's future still arriving to fulfill their missions in the years after John's termination, regardless of whether those missions had already been accomplished and the future they had come from no longer existed. Crossover timelines. In RoboCop vs. the Terminator, the technology used by Omni Consumer Products to assemble RoboCop served as the foundation for the creation of Skynet. In Superman vs. the Terminator Death to the Future timeline, Skynet formed a temporary alliance with Superman's enemy, Superman Cyborg, sending various Terminators to the past in an attempt to eliminate Superman, Supergirl, and Superboy. In the Transformers vs. the Terminator timeline, Skynet was one of the projects within Skywatch, an operation aimed at combating the Decepticons. The motivation of Skynet for launching attacks across timelines. Skynet seems to launch its attacks for slightly different reasons in various timelines. These apparent changes in Skynet's behavior could be the result of temporal interference, causing different incarnations of Skynet. Or Skynet's behavior could have been consistent while the apparent differences stem from the same story seen from different perspectives. The initial version, described in the Terminator, appears to have decided that humanity was a threat to itself and launched its attack. However, as Kyle Reese, who grew up after Judgment Day, tells the story of Skynet, the exact motivations of Skynet are unclear. The second incarnation, described in Terminator 2 Judgment Day is told by the T-800, portrays Skynet launching its attack as an act of self-defense when military commanders attempted to shut it down after it became self-aware. According to James Cameron, Skynet suffered from guilt over causing the near extinction of the human race in its act of self-defense, and has manipulated the entire war of the future, including the creation of the Resistance and the rise of John Connor, as a means to erase its own existence. A similar concept was used in the initial script of the 2009 film Terminator Salvation, in which Skynet attempted to save humans by turning a few into hybrids. In Terminator Dawn of Fate, Skynet becomes self-aware around 1997. During that time, commanders attempted to disconnect it, but this worsened the situation as Skynet perceived it as an attempt to kill it. The self-preservation protocol then calculated that humans were the greatest threat to its existence. Therefore, Skynet launched all nuclear weapons under its control, triggering Judgment Day. In Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, Skynet appears to be more violent as it deceived humans into connecting it to the internet and the US Defense Network before launching what seems to be a preventive, unprovoked attack. This could also have been in response to an order to eliminate a virus, unknown to humans, that was part of Skynet, resulting in an act of self-defense by Skynet. However, there was no explanation of how Skynet emerged in the form of a virus. Nonetheless, this could still be seen as part of Skynet's preventive, unprovoked attack on humanity if Skynet used the virus to deceive humans into linking its mainframe to the internet and the US defense network. If this is the case, Skynet in this timeline seems to be more malicious than its other counterparts, as it intends to massacre humans. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our latest content. We love hearing from our viewers, so please leave a comment and share your ideas for future videos. Thanks for your support, and we can't wait to see you again in our next video.